time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hi, guys. Welcome back and happy Thursday. Guys, we're back to talk about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion part 4. I've had 2 sets of 4 shots of espresso, 1 smoothie, and probably 7 soda waters because I'm not drinking right now. So this has been a great morning already. So with that, I have 2 special guests to bring up to talk about the Beverly Hills reunion. Actually, one of them, I think she just said she had like 2 5-hour energy shots, and she's right on my level. Let's welcome $25,000 sunglasses. Even though she's trying to get away from that, I feel like we'll never let her live it down. And also down with Jason, Dana Wilkey, and Jason. Hi.
Oh my gosh. Oh, look at my hair. It's all funny.
No, it looks great. You look great. Guys, for those of you who don't know, Dana Wilkey, well, I was going to say does a late night recap of Beverly Hills. However, now it's come to an end. So we'll figure out something else to late night recap.
Yeah. I do Wednesday nights, I do a party basically on some subject. So I am doing another one next week on Wednesday. So yeah, but I'm hanging from last night. We like 2,000 people and I partied for 2 hours, and it was like,
Oh my God.
We were like 12:45 in the morning East Coast time, and there was still like so many people, and we were just getting dumber and dumber as the night went on.
I'm right. You were with Casey last night.
Oh, we love Casey.
We were talking about you guys.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, one of the people on the party last night was calling you go down on Jason. Like he couldn't remember the down with Jason, so he kept saying, I'm going to go down on Jason, like, because he could, but it was like a legit mistake. But we died, and I was like, that's a subliminal.
Listen, whoever that was, if you want him, you can take him.
He's hot.
I'm free to go, and the cuffs are off.
I'm just kidding. So, we're less than 2 minutes in, and we already have 250 in the room. So thank you, guys. It's a subscribers-only live chat. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. That way you can engage in the chat. Don't forget to smash that like button. It's important. And then after this, and I'll say this at the end too, Jason's going live at 1:15 to take all of your calls, because for this live, we're keeping it to our panel. All right, so I asked you guys in a poll, what would you rate the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion part 4, 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, and 42% of the poll rated it a 1 to 3. Dana, I'm going to start with you. What would you give this?
On part 4 or the whole reunion?
Part 4. Well, the first 3 parts blew it. So,
okay, well, I felt like some parts were better than others, but last night it was really boring. And I found it really boring, and I gave it a low score. Like, I would take a crappy score, whatever that score was.
So you would go with 1 to 3?
Yes, thank you.
Oh my gosh, Jason.
As I said, I'm hungover this morning. Roll with it, okay?
She's working off those energy shots.
Yeah, they're not kicking in yet.
I'm gonna need one in like 10.
You'll get one. It'll really help. It's like such a good hangover.
I have to say, it was the most interesting out of the 4.
You found that really?
I didn't really like this whole reunion in general, like at all. But just to see, I think we saw a lot of Erika's character, and it was just kind of scary.
Yes, I agree. And there were a few moments last night that threw me off, because I've had Ronald Richards on my channel numerous times, and we talked about the Amex bill, the tax situation, the 20 million plus transferred into EJ Global. And then watching her last night say that, well, that money wasn't transferred into EJ Global, it threw me back. I'm like, wait a minute. So who's not telling the truth here? Because why would an attorney go on and share these documents who's a part of the whole bankruptcy case and brought on by the trustee and not tell the truth about the 20 million transferred into EJ Global? Like, I don't see what Ronald Richards has to gain by saying that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what keeps surprising people, that, there is no truth coming out, in my opinion, of Erika's mouth. I mean, Sutton said it best yesterday when she said, you misrepresented our friendship, that we were okay, right? She said that was a great simplified answer of you being a liar.
Yeah, she said, I played your ass.
And she said, your ass.
Yeah, that's lying.
Right. So I was thinking to myself, okay, so there's a fine line between lying and playing someone's ass, isn't there not? I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, everything she says has no credibility. It has an agenda. You know, her legal team filed proceedings against Jay Edelson to say that the Lion Air people didn't know about his fee agreement, which wasn't his fee agreement. It was his partner's fee agreement with Girardi Keys. And I was like, you know, and I just, he's going to respond to it next week. But I really see it as like a way to deflect. And right. I think that's what she's doing. This whole reunion is deflecting. And just like that, like, I know, I'll take all the attention off the fact that Tom spent $2 million of widows and orphans money on my, you know, lavish lifestyle over the 12 years, however many years it was that they got the money from them. And I will refocus it on a totally dumb thing about legal fees, which frankly it is at this point. So right. I just feel like it's more of the same kind of BS. Like, I'm just going to deflect, you know?
Right. Exactly. No, I want to bring up this super chat really quick. Norma, thank you so much. Rinna discussed me. I feel she would get Erika Jayne riled up prior to meeting up with the women. She gave Erika Jayne her narrative. Rinna should not be trusted. What did you think about that, Dana? Because you've played this game before, and obviously if you knew now, you know, or if you knew then what you knew now, then you would have played it different. You've said that numerous times, but with Lisa Rinna calling Erika and giving her the heads up that they had that meeting at Dorits' house, was that being a good friend or was that being shitty to the rest of the group?
No, that was definitely Lisa being a good friend. She was protecting her relationship off the show with Erika. There must be, because of the synergies with the business manager that they have, you know, they have the same like accountant or business manager. They have some off-show things that obviously she's trying to protect, in my opinion. And I think she sat this season out for good reason. And her apologies last night that she did about basically every season on Housewives thus far was an example of her trying to start over. Okay. Jason, what did you think about that? Do you think that she was being shitty or a good friend?
Lisa?
Yeah.
I have to agree with Dana. She was just trying to save the relationship for off the show.
Right. Well, because Erika has said numerous times, I will remember who was with me and who was against me. But one thing that surprised me last night is we've heard this whole narrative that, you know, she doesn't want to speak with Tom because God forbid she speaks with Tom, then who knows like what could be used against her. It might look like they're in cahoots. And, you know, she got pissed off at Garcelle for even mentioning this. There was this whole explosion off camera that was with her screaming at production when they were, I believe, in Palm Springs or La Quinta. And, you know, she was so livid that Garcelle even revealed this, which she didn't know that she couldn't reveal it in the first place. Now she's sharing with us that just in the reunion alone, that day that Tom Girardi was calling her 4 or 5 times, and she's had conversations with him. Isn't that something that you would think that she wouldn't be doing?
I mean, I don't get her relationship with Tom Girardi. It's like her many stories that we've heard on the show. Like, try to make sense of them, and you just kind of fall off a cliff, much like Tom in the back of the Pasadena mansion.
Okay. You know, there was one thing that she said last night when Andy Cohen asked her a question, and she said, "I'm not going to go there." When Andy was saying, well, some fans on Twitter, you know, wanted to know, your son rolled his car in the snow, and she said, we're not going to talk about that. But then I'm thinking in my head, okay, well, this is why we're not connecting the dots. We're not able to, because I understand that you're picking and choosing what you can talk about for legal reasons. But what does your son rolling his car have to do with anything with the Girardi scandal? Nothing. So was that
And why did you bring it up on the show if you don't want to talk about it at the reunion?
Exactly.
Well, you know, I would say if she was new, I'd say she didn't know. But because she's seasoned, I don't know. I think maybe she needed to pull from something. She was, you know, you don't always have your plan for the shoot in your head.
Right.
So it's possible someone said something and she didn't have a really good response. So she told the story to try to justify something, but didn't give it a lot of thought. You know what I mean? She just pulled it, and then she regretted it after. Like, what did I say that for?
Well, sorry. Ellen just said, could it be that he was a cop and they covered it up? But what would there be to actually cover up? Like, there's nothing. If he rolled his car, unless, like, God forbid, you catch somebody who is, you know, a cop or a firefighter or something of that magnitude, and they're drinking and driving or something like that, then I understand where you would try your best to cover it up so they don't lose their job and try to get them home safe. But I don't see, one, why this was even mentioned if you don't want to talk about it, and two, why Andy Cohen couldn't get a straight answer out of her. But we had a lot of moments where she was like, hold on, to only give us nothing.
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, that was my problem, is that I just kind of sat there and went over the same stuff over again. And what she did as a tactic is she would just yell at everybody so aggressively that, you know, she almost is acting like she got her point across, but nobody actually believes what she's saying. They're just bullied into submission.
Right. Well, Sean Hunley, thank you so much. I was so disgusted with Erika and her attitude, and that comment about if this was Potomac or Atlanta, it would have been a conversation. Really?
I agree. And I honestly, that's why I was doing a live, because I want to talk to people, because this was the biggest moment of the reunion for me. Okay. That she is allowed to, she came on and she said, yeah, you think I'm yelling, but if I was on Potomac or Atlanta, it would just be a conversation. Garcelle then asked, what does that mean? And it seems like that would have been I would like to know what you meant too. Like, what is it? What is that? I mean,
will you remind me what she was referring to? Was it her referring to threatening Sutton, or her
just the way her demeanor in general? But at the same time, you know, I just watched last week Candace Dillard-Bassett with Cynthia Bailey on eDaily News, the Daily Pop, and Candace, which I don't agree with very often, everyone knows that, brought up some great points about Candace and Cynthia about how they were supposed to be, being from Atlanta, being a person of color, being from Potomac, how these franchises needed to be louder and how they felt they needed to be more assertive. So,
and they kept comparing Potomac to Atlanta. So that was a great conversation. It's a really good conversation. But I felt like this was another moment that Garcelle kind of got brushed over this season with coming up with, like, whether it's hearing her out not fitting into the group, or the whole thing debacle at Del Mar, where Lisa like quickly ran over to jump on Garcelle's lap, and, you know, at the reunion, it's just like, I would have liked to know what Erika meant. I think that's gonna not be good for her moving forward. To piggyback off what you're saying, like, New Jersey would have been the best franchise to compare it to, because in Jersey, these women don't give a shit. They pour shit over each other's heads. They rip each other's hair out. They attack each other at the reunion. Like, that would have been a better example than saying, well, Potomac, Atlanta, and now New York.
Well, like, I think she threw New York in there last, and I was like, "What are you trying to save yourself last minute here?" Because it didn't come off like that.
Yeah,
at all.
No.
Well, I didn't even hear her say New York. Really?
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah, she threw New York in there last, but then you could tell, because they kept panning over to her when she was going through the conversation and saying everything she had to say. She kept on getting quiet, and then she would kind of just, or like when they would move on with the conversation, she would look around like, "Oh shit."
I mean, I think it was all unnecessary. Like, that was an unnecessary comment, actually. I don't know why she
Deflection at its finest. I mean,
she
like,
was
really just
hard fighting. She was bullying everybody. She was like, come to the source and then I'll kill you. Like, that's what, you know, like,
come to the source.
Ask me a question and I will throw a nunchuck at your head. Like, that's kind of what I was getting at it. I don't know where I got nunchuck from.
I just watched this kid with nunchucks. I think he was like 5 or 6 on TikTok. He's freaking amazing. I don't know if you saw that. No, but even Garcelle says, you know, we haven't seen you angry at him. I think they wanted to see some sort of emotion, because it was just like roundabout stories.
It was Crystal. Crystal said, I wasn't it Crystal who said
Crystal said, we haven't seen you angry. And then Garcelle says, we haven't seen you angry at Tom.
Jack. I'm watching his little green thing.
Jaggle, thank you so much for the super chat. Dana, who's more morally corrupt, Faye Resnick or Erika Girardi?
Erika Girardi, hands down. Come on. That's like, that's an easy one.
That's an easy one. All right, Norma, send Erika to Atlanta and let's see how tough she is. Okay.
Well, I agree with that statement, because you know what? I said this last night. What left me feeling so empty inside at the end of this season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was two things. One, Erika still never apologized to the victims, just from the perspective, not guilt, just like, I'm sorry this happened to you, just that it happened to you, right? I never got that apology. I just got like this dance around BS that wasn't heartfelt at all. That was like, yeah, they've got stuff coming to them, then I hope they get them. I was like, what is this? Like, what is that kind of, what are you talking about, you insensitive little bitch? I mean, really, it's so crazy. So I never got that. And then my second thing I never got was someone basically saying, don't talk to me like that, you goddamn nightmare. Like,
no,
like,
and honestly,
I mean, not even Andy. Like, Andy was like intimidated. I was like, what?
He even told her, you're a piece of work. But no, she kept saying to the rest of the women on the reunion floor, she's like, if you have a question, come straight to the source. You don't have to go around me. And that's why I'm pissed. And they're all like,
but then she talks over everyone and she starts yelling at you if you even start a question. So it's like, how are you supposed to? I wouldn't want to ever run into her. I've only seen her once in real life. And
did you see the TikTok flying around this morning? I tried to get some new content for your live today, although I'm dying inside. No, I'm kidding.
What is the TikTok?
So, so paparazzi caught Erika in the garage. It looks like she was in the mall in Beverly Hills. And they said, what are you looking for in a man? And she said, I'm looking for someone who's very intelligent. And he kind of hinted like, well, what about money, right? Like, that's surprising you went for intelligent first. She's obviously trying to channel Marilyn Monroe. I mean, I'm really being honest. Like, there's a lot of that happening with her outfit on the reunion and now like saying that. And then she said, that she was looking for a man who was 25, no younger than 25, but as old, she could go old. And then she said,
she could go old.
Yeah. Then she said, I think most women want a man with money, was the response to the money. But she said, that's less important. So have we seen Erika Girardi? By the way, I don't buy any of that crap, but I'm just saying that's what she said. And I guess my question to your group is she trying to present that she somehow has gone through an arc and now money is no longer important to her as it was during the 20 years with Tom Girardi? That's my question. She's really grown.
I'm not buying that either, because I feel like there are two things she's looking for, probably old and rich. But I've only been told this one time, and it took me back a little bit. And it was when I flew to Atlanta to do the Fallon interview. And when I did, at the end of the interview, I asked her, I'm like, so what are you looking for in a man? What's next for you? And not saying you need a man, but what kind of guy would you date? And she said, I'm done dating rich guys. And I was thinking in my head, why? You're just going to have the same problems with a broke guy, so I might as well date a rich guy. It didn't make sense. And then come to find out she was dating the guy, her assistant.
Yeah. And she lied to you.
All of this came out, and she knew she was dating the assistant, which is fine. Like, I didn't pick up on it. But in the interview, I did think about it like, wait a minute, why? That doesn't make sense. And okay,
I know it was crazy that Simon actually was validated with that whole thing. I mean, Guobadia. Can you believe I can say his name right?
Simon Guobadia. Okay.
Guobadia.
Well, I did want to ask too, because Ronald Richards came out with the Amex bills, and it was over $14 million racked up. And I believe that these bills,
But wait a minute, it was 25 million, it was 20 million, now it's 14 million.
No, this is the Amex bill. 20 million allegedly transferred into EJ Global. She's being sued for 25 million, and she allegedly spent.
Wait, so is it cash, the other 14 million? Because I haven't followed this section of it. I know about the Amex, but I thought 20 million was, she never received, like, where's the difference? Where's the 6 million?
So the 14 million was spent on a credit card.
And then where's the 6?
Well, the 20 million was allegedly transferred into her account. So
they're separate. There's 20 separate. And 14, 34 million in total.
Yes.
That's what you were told by Ronald Richards, or that's what you think?
That's what's been coming out in the articles, and that's what Ronald Richards has said. Yeah. And that's within the court. He actually listed out in the court documents her 14 million in charges, and talking about like who she was paying. She was paying these different companies who put on the
how did
production.
they have no bank account for EJ Global and she received another 20 million in cash?
Well, that's a great question, because she says she didn't receive the 20 million in cash and it wasn't wired to her by Girardi Keese, and other people are saying that it was.
So, and then they're doing a big due diligence on a bunch of the banks that they had a bunch of accounts in different weird banks. I don't know if she was involved with those accounts or if Tom was. And obviously the companies that I know for a fact she was a director on, they haven't addressed at all in the reunion. So that was weird. I mean, we're getting like a little tiny glimpse of, you know, a big, huge picture.
Right.
Sounds like an enigma.
I actually found out that he absolutely lied on his PPP loan, because one of my fans really holds me to the fire, you know? So he said to me, Dana, you know, if he had applied for that PPP loan in 2020 or received it in July of 2020, he would have applied in Q4 of 2019. And if he had done that, it would have been based on his attorneys at that time. So I reached out to one of my friends on Housewife and the Hustler who knew how many attorneys he had.
Stop.
Not Danielle.
I'm just kidding.
Leave poor Dan. You know, I mean, I appreciate what she brought to that show. She brought that Housewives element that I can't apparently bring. So
that damn Dave Quinn in that book, that damn Housewife and Hulu Hustler shit.
Can you believe that Dave Quinn cut me out of his book? I mean, come on. I don't even want to, I can't.
Because you had real stories.
We won't get you started.
You saw I posted the DMs, right? In my Instagram. Go look, I posted the whole conversation on my Instagram. And he's asking me. So like ask me and come for me and beg me to do the interview. And then interview me for 2 hours, waste my time, say you're going to promote my Instagram and all this stuff, and then cut me. And then don't even send me a courtesy email to say, hey, listen, it's beyond my control. I'm really sorry I wasted your time. But like, we can't include you in the book because you're not important enough. Or Andy hates you, or the editor hates you, or we just think you're not boring, whatever, but nothing.
Guys, I got her started. I got her started. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry. So what? I don't even remember what I was talking about. But anyway, the point is, I get pissed about things. So the point is that I don't, my Housewife and the Hustler person who knew how many employees he had in 2019 Q4 said he had 22 lawyers at that time and a few administrators. So there's no way he had reported on his loan. I think it was 82 attorneys that he was claiming on behalf of for the PPP loan. So that's like a very short, right?
So that's a lot of extra.
He exaggerated the number of attorneys that were working with him in 2019 to get a higher PPP loan.
Well, there's also a situation right now where the trustees are trying to get the whole bankruptcy thrown out because there was some sort of 2020 financial document to a lender that claimed that he had over, I believe it was $260+ million in assets. It was like 80 something million in real estate, 12 million in jewelry, 116 million in cash, like listed all of these assets. And the trustee is like, this is bullshit. Like, you're not helping us find anything. We can't locate these assets. Are they real? You just declared that you had these assets. Let's throw out the bankruptcy case and we'll see what happens with that.
Well, I was really, there was something that came up, which I mentioned on my live last night. Let me get it because I'm hanging. Oh, God.
Yes, Mark is hitting that. Guys, we have 1,100 in the room. Go ahead, smash that like button. Only 24 minutes in. Hey.
Okay, so what the hell is this guy's name? One of the trustees, I'm going to get it in a minute here. He just petitioned the court to keep Tom Girardi in his bankruptcy forever.
Okay.
Now, why do you think that is? What does that tell you?
I don't know.
That trustee believes that it's the only way to make sure that there is no like con job happening here, right? Because he'll never be free of scrutiny if he's in the bankruptcy forever. And if anything ever comes up, and from now until then, you know, they get it.
Well,
because when a bankruptcy ends, it ends.
You know, this is the never-ending saga. And I did an interview yesterday with Ron Richards, and we were talking about the fact that, I I just lost my train of thought. It must be the espressos.
Oh my God, welcome to my world.
What did Ronald Richards say yesterday to you on your show? That's what you were talking about. I guess it was a really good show because you can't remember. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh. He said when it came to the $25 million lawsuit, right now he's going to stop pressing in so hard because Erika could file bankruptcy, but why would she want to? She has good credit and everything, and she's trying to fight this out. But they're trying to come up with a settlement deal because he knows it's unrealistic for her to pay back the $25 million. But before they come up with a settlement deal, he said that he will not do a deal unless Erika Girardi reveals who is helping pay her legal fees. And he did note, I'm not going to give this person's name out to the public. I don't want people scrutinizing them because it could just be a friend. However, we don't know if it's somebody who is holding money for them. So until she releases that information, we are not releasing her with the settlement.
Yeah, well, I've always said, I believe that eventually, she's going to hold on for forever. But at any point, if it gets too pressured, she'll just file for bankruptcy. And that'll be that.
And when you file for bankruptcy,
she's not going to buy anything. She's going to stay asset poor. And she's going to, so that there's, she's just going to spend her money.
Okay. So because he even said yesterday, like, her Range Rover is obviously leased. Like, there are no real assets aside from her jewelry and her designer clothes and bags. However, since those classify as gifts, she really has nothing that they can take aside from her paycheck.
Right. And the other thing is that, if over time she meets somebody and gets married, that will be another layer, could be another layer of protection for her, is if it's contracted properly, that marriage. So in other words, like it blurs the lines of what's hers and what's his, because it's now a marital agreement. It's legal. And then what, who owns what, where's the money coming from for certain things, it grays it.
My dad always told me, and I'm not calling Erika stupid, but my dad always told me you can't play stupid and smart at the same time. And we've seen interviews with Erika where she's talked about, going in and out of the Girardi Keese legal firm and having conversations with Tom. And she said, at this point, I feel like I could pass the state bar. But then we're seeing her and she's acting like she doesn't know what the hell's going on and that she can't navigate the legalities of it all. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, which one is it? Do you not know? Do you not understand? Or do you understand so well that this is a very clever game that we're playing and we will never know?
Well, I mean, obviously a tactic that her lawyers have decided to let her do, since she loves being on the show so much and refused to not be, continue being a public figure, because they definitely told her to stop.
Right.
And so one of the tactics I think they decided to come up with, and this is just me speculating, but basically tell constantly contradicting statements about things so that no one can peg any statement as fact or truth. Because she's done it a lot. So for example, she's like, I had the best marriage ever to Tom. He cheated on me all the time, right?
Right.
I had nothing to do with Tom's legal practice. I was at his legal office every day. Give me all your research because I can figure it out if you give it to me. What else? Tom was one of the smartest guys I've ever met. He was so on his game. He's incompetent, and, he kept saying the same stories over and over again and drove off a cliff. Okay. And then different versions of those stories. This happened. No, this happened. It was a small accident. No, it was a big accident.
By the way, speaking of the accident, when she talked about that again last night and then changed it from 9 hours to 12 hours, I get what Kathy Hilton was saying. It's like sometimes in the moment, like you mess up your information and the details and you're just trying to get the story out there. I get that part, but she went from 12 hours to 9 hours to
That's another reason not to ask her any questions.
Well, then she said he was ejected, obviously, from the car in some way. And then that he's just aimlessly wandering. Then he's calling her saying, I don't know where I am. This is what I see. And then she called the police and an ambulance came and picked him up. But then there's no police report, which really doesn't make sense, because wouldn't that police report, that would have to be on file, right?
Well, she said they can't find one, which means, I guess, somebody got rid of the report that was in high places. I I don't know. She always implies these, like, that's part of her thing. Like, let me not say anything. Let me just imply it.
I'm very angry. Hear it in my voice.
Could that have been a situation though where Tom Girardi, where Tom Girardi would have wanted, someone in a higher place to get rid of this police report so it didn't make him look incompetent when it came to...
Tom Girardi apparently was, had a lot of people he was paying. And so, there's a lot of conflict of interest flying around, and that, seems to reach judges and the California Bar Association and political figures and possibly police officers. So, that's why I thought Sutton was actually really scared when she threatened her, because of all of these relationships that were inappropriate that Tom Girardi had, that people might do stuff, that they shouldn't do because they were conflicted. I mean, look at David Lira. It just came out that David Lira was paying one of the investigators at the California Bar to moonlight for him for over a year and a half. This same gentleman is supposed to be looking into the wrongdoings of Girardi case. How is that not a conflict? How do I work for you and prosecute you?
So can that person who he was paying, can they do jail time because of this?
Well, what I understand is they released him. So he's no longer working, I guess, for the California Bar. And the California Bar sometimes outsources their legal investigators. So it's probably that scenario that happened. Because I'm guessing that he was like an exterior law firm that was paid by the California Bar to like do some investigating for them. Right. And then it comes to light that that law firm was also working with David Lira, but that is a conflict. He shouldn't be working with David Lira if he's being investigating Girardi case, even if David Lira is at another law firm now. It's a conflict.
Okay.
I mean, that's it. And that's what that's exactly the kind of stuff that Tom was doing when the LA Times article broke about that. I mean, that's why they never got anywhere on the investigations, because everyone in the California Bar Association was getting something from Tom, either directly or indirectly.
This is all crazy. This is a mess. It's about as crazy as this.
Oh my God, you got video now? That's so cool.
Well, I'm trying to channel.
God, look at that look.
All right. I can't believe you actually learned how to use this so good. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, they're just little gifts. They're little gifts, not like the gifts that she receives, because those aren't little, but gifts, GIFs or GIFs. I don't know what they're called. Whatever. I'm too old for this shit. But getting back to it, I want to know. I didn't even ask Jason this. I want to know from both of you, when Sutton gave us the threat that we all wanted to know about, because Sutton alluded to the fact that there was something whispered in her ear in an interview, and she said, I will never talk about it. But apparently it wasn't that crazy to me, even though it is a threat, right? But she said, I will come for you and your family. I would have looked at her and I would have been like, bitch, try it. But Sutton decided to get security for 1 week. Were you shocked by that? And do you think it's overboard? Or do you think Sutton was coming from a place of, like you just said, Tom knows a lot of people in high places. Yeah, that would be a scary threat.
Absolutely. Because
doesn't Sutton know people too, though?
Like, no, because let me tell you why. When you're really in the show and you're like, it's all good. And here's the one thing I can bring to the table on this conversation. As somebody who sits and watches it, you're like, oh yeah, I don't know. It's kind of bullshit. Okay, right? But when you're in it and it's real and it's really happening, and you're this woman sitting next to you and she's intimidating you, and it's really like, it's a different situation. I can't explain it to you. You're feeling it. Like, you really are feeling scared. You don't know what this person could do. She came off like she might get physical. It was like, if I had been Sutton, being that I've been in a fight scene on the show, I would have been so scared. Like when I was in the fight scene, game night with Brandy and Kim and Kyle, you can't, like, it was shocking. Like, my reaction is real. Like, I wasn't like, oh, let me do a good face for the camera. I was like, holy.
Like Kyle.
I was hiding behind Taylor. That was a real reaction. It's scary. Like, it's not normal. You don't see it coming. It's like all of a sudden it comes out of nowhere, and it's scary. And you don't know what the person's going to do, especially with these kind of stakes. Like, at this time, they're talking about a possible criminal investigation against Definitely Tom, but who knows about Erika just by association. So like her stakes at this point are high. And I would if I was Sutton, I'd be so scared legally and physically with knowing the kind of contacts they have.
Okay.
Even casinos. What about her son? He's in with the casino people. I mean,
she does come off scary. Jason, were you shocked by this?
I couldn't really put a pin. I was just so kind of disgusted by the character that Erika displayed last night that it was so aggravating to know that they're bringing her back. They're bringing this person back to the show.
Well,
and paying her a lot of money.
It's I don't even want to watch it now.
What do you think they're paying her now at this point, Dana? She was making $600,000 last season.
Yeah, she's season 6 now or 7?
I believe she's on season 7. This is 6.
Is it?
Yeah, because season 6 of Beverly Hills is when we had this moment where Bethany was freaking out on Erika.
Got it.
And she said that producers wanted her to question Erika because the rest of the women were afraid to do so and they didn't want her a part of the group. So then they brought in Bethany, did a crossover to the Hamptons, and of course Bethany doesn't give a shit. So she was like, mention it all.
So that's the fact that she was making $600,000 in her 5th year is pretty impressive. I'm just going to say that because that wouldn't be the normal step. So that means she already had some sort of power with Bravo that they were paying that kind of top dollar number to her. So the fact that that's the case, I'm going to say that probably 750 or something, 800. So, I mean, I know the rumor was $1 million, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Bethany Frankel did also come out and say that Erika's being underpaid this upcoming season because of everything that she's putting on the line and potentially implicating herself. So we'll have to wait and see. But I do want to bring up a moment that we got because it wasn't all about Erika. It was just mostly about Erika. But Lisa Rinna had to apologize for some of her ridiculous antics throughout the seasons. And it was really uncomfortable to watch when Andy Cohen brought up, the different scenes on, in front of them. They had to watch back where she talked about Munchausen's with Yolanda, said that Kim Richards was near death, and then also the way she treated Denise. And when she was apologizing for the Kim Richards, if you just looked at Kathy and Kyle, they looked like, yeah, bitch, what are you going to say? And you could tell she was like, oh, I'm sitting across from Kathy who could probably end me in Beverly Hills. I need to right this wrong right away. Did you get that? Or
totally.
No?
Yeah, I felt that too. Absolutely. I felt like Lisa was trying to clear the slate for the next season so she could start fresh with the fans. And so she literally took back everything that she's ever done on the show incorrectly, listed it all.
Is the first person to have accountability.
But you know what? I had this response last night, which is, I don't forgive you. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my response.
I don't forgive you. TW, Erika was answering questions with questions, so no answers. Garcelle was the only one to speak up. Even Sutton was quiet. Rinna is truly not needed. I thought it was interesting because Lisa Rinna showed us some hypocrisy last night because she was defending Erika saying, well, that person should be there. We have to stop talking behind people's backs. And Andy Cohen looked at her and was like, excuse me, you are the queen of talking behind people's backs. And she's like, listen, I've done it. I own it. I'm apologizing for it. If I could rewrite my wrongs, then I would do that. And I'm thinking in my head, no, you wouldn't. That's what got you here to where you are today.
Exactly. No, that's why you're on the show, actually, but okay.
Yeah, I would rewrite my wrongs. Well, I don't know about that, but okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, she's trying to, I know what it is. As she's very smart when it comes to the show. She realized that her character as this kind of villainy type character that she'd been for years was starting to get old for fans. And so she tried to reinvent herself so that she could be somebody else this season. And then next season.
I hope she reinvents her fashion too, because I could not look at that dress at all last night. I mean, like these past 4 weeks we've been watching this. I don't like it at all.
Wasn't it Dana? Dana, wasn't it you who said don't match your socks to or your stockings?
Yes.
I thought that was you.
Yeah, I was like, never match your socks to your dress ever.
Well, there wasn't, aside from this and calling Sutton a bitchy effing see you next Tuesday.
Which no one did anything about. They were like, okay, yeah, I'm okay. Like, everyone just looked at her like this, like, I can't believe you just said that. And she's like, what you did in that moment, calling me a liar, made you a bitchy king. And I was like, yeah, but nobody did anything. Like, okay, make a face. So what? What does that mean? Like, what I didn't see was anybody rising to the occasion of having anyone's back except for Erika's. And they did it out of intimidation. It's like a mob boss. Like, don't say anything. The boss might get mad.
It really does blow your mind. And it makes you wonder, like, what does this woman have that makes everybody so afraid? But
either that or they edited it. That's another thing. You can't trust. There's often, like, someone could have stood up to her and we never saw it. Really, truly. If Andy has an agenda with this, how he wants things depicted, they'll cut that right out. They don't even care if it's a big section of it. Because I saw big things that were in my reunion that never made it on the edit.
Right.
I mean, whole thing's missing.
How far in advance did you get the edit before the reunion?
You don't. You just watch it. You get it a few days before. Like, they send it to you like as a gesture. It's so that you can, they only send it to you before so that you can be prepared if something bad is in it about you. And you can
how courteous.
It on social media, and you can promote the show on social media. It's completely for that reason. And they don't give it to you well in advance because, frankly, they don't want to give people an opportunity to sue or something. Do you understand?
Okay.
Because there's not enough time, right?
Right.
Otherwise, they could stop the edit.
Interesting. And you're not supposed to sue. You're not supposed to sue or serve anyone with cease and desist because they will kick you off the show for doing so, right?
I mean, there's no rules on that, right? But I guess the idea being the way the production would frame that is, well, no one wants to shoot with you, Dana, because you sent a cease and desist. So how are we going to put you in the show if there's no one willing to shoot with you?
Okay.
Then I go, oh shit, do I want to be on the show or don't I want to be on the show? I guess I better not send the cease and desist. That's why when Denise made that move, she was done. They definitely pulled that card. They always do everything in a way that you can't, it's not scripted, but it's like you're manipulated into a position. So for example, when Kathy said last night about lunch, about not going to Garcelle's dinner, and she said she was not allowed to go due to COVID because she had done something, right?
Right.
That really, to me, was actually them not wanting Kathy for some reason to go to that dinner, like production.
Okay.
Because they actually control who goes where. You don't.
Right. You get like a call time.
You actually they didn't, for example, they didn't want me to go to Lisa's tea party in my season 2 because they knew I would probably stop Camille from calling out Taylor about her abuse. So eliminate Dana from that, and that happens.
Right.
So they will also, they get a feeling for what someone is, or like they won't invite Garcelle. They might invite Garcelle to something to see if she'll stand up for Sutton as a lab rat test to see where is she a real friend or isn't she a friend. Or they might not invite her to something about Sutton because they want that attack to happen and they don't want anyone in the way.
So shady. Okay.
Yeah. And they do it to piss people off too. Like, oh, that would really hurt her feelings if she doesn't go or if she's late, and they'll make you late.
Sidebar really quick. Dana, for being hungover from last night, you look really pretty today.
Oh my goodness, Adam. So much. I don't know. I feel terrible.
Well, you don't look terrible.
I love you. I love you so much. I was like, I'd never let you down, but I'm hanging today. So I hope I don't suck on your show.
No. Oh my gosh. We have almost 1,600 people in the room. Guys, go ahead, smash that like button. We're capping it today at an hour. And then Jason is going live on his channel in literally 30 minutes to take callers. So before we end up wrapping this up, and I think I'm done talking or asking you guys about the reunion. Okay. I know that last week when we talked about the reunion on your channel, it was so interesting because we were talking about Dorit and revealing, that she pays full price retail. And then boom, we get a text message the next day from you, Dana. I think Jason got the text message saying, what the fuck? Did this really just happen?
Did you report on it? I didn't even know. Did you?
Yeah, I talked about
videos on it.
Well, of course I'm going to talk about it, right?
No, I don't mind. I'm okay. I just was asking, did you guys do a video about it?
Well, I did a video about the home invasion and the little bit of the, details that we got from the LAPD report. But after the home invasion happened, it was like 2 days later, Dorit started filming again. And when she did, it was at the Andaz Hotel in West Hollywood. We all know the Andaz. And she was seen next to this woman. Do you know who that is?
Hold on, I have to put my glasses back on.
It's the woman with the tongue.
When the Andaz was the Hyatt at one point?
Diane? Is that Diane?
Sanella Diana Jenkins.
Yeah. Jenkins. Yeah, Diane Jenkins. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are do you know her? Do you know anything about her?
Yes. I did a deep dive on her and a bonus audio on my Patreon. And you're in my Patreon. Go listen to it, and then you can do a video.
Okay. So guys, the teaser here. I love how you navigate everybody.
I'm being honest.
I'm not giving you shit.
I did all this work. I sat there with like notepads and shit for an hour. Go get the real scoop.
So if we want to know about Sanella, then we just have to go to Dana Wilkey's Patreon. I love a good plug. All right.
It's called Dishing Drama, Dana. And it was done see how ahead I am? It wasn't done this last Tuesday. It was done the Tuesday before.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago on Tuesday.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And, I did want to ask you because you mentioned before that the women, and I believe you said all of them, when they start a new season, that they come in with a 3-week contract. And at the end of that contract, the production decides, are you going to be a friend of, are we axing you, or are you a full-time housewife, correct?
Yeah, you have a contract that covers the full spectrum. So no matter what happens. And now that I've heard they've done changes to the contracts, I've heard two things. One is that they do short-term contracts now where it's only a few weeks. And that's new. That never happened. Okay. And another thing I heard was that they reward you, which I don't know, I haven't validated, but that they reward you on how many episodes you appear in rather than like just signing you up for a season. No, I'm not sure. Like I heard that is a rumor.
Like you're getting paid episodically.
So in other words, when I was around, whether you were in an episode or you weren't in an episode, you were paid a certain amount of money. It was a flat rate. And then anything above and beyond a traditional season, you got paid a bump. Okay. So like an extra episode, a reunion, a blah, blah, if they needed more episodes because it was such a good season, right? You'd get like a little bump. But now I heard that some people have contracts where if they don't appear on the show, they don't get paid. So let's say there's a 12 episodes and they're only on 4, they only get paid 4.
Do they, and I've always wondered this, how sometimes before we get the episodes, actually Jason and I have talked about this, sometimes how we get the episodes and it's the never before seen scenes.
Sorry, there's some weird
the episode like that they air after Watch What Happens Live or whatever.
Or no, like right before they like
the episode from last week, but before the new episode.
Yeah, and it's
the bonus scenes. With the bonus scenes.
Yes. Yeah. Do they get paid extra for those?
I don't think so. No,
I don't think so either.
Okay.
You don't get paid for anything extra, or at least in my season, you didn't. Like the only extra was like if they have like a certain amount of like a set season. So let's say it's 12, I think. If you have a great season, you might end up with like 4-part reunion. It's at like 16 or 18 episodes, right? So they'll hit you for a little bump on each of those episodes above that set number. And then your reunion, you get another thing. But by the way, when you go on Wendy Williams, when you go on Watch What Happens Live, you don't get paid extra, or you didn't in my time.
Well, now I know that I believe Watch What Happens Live only because I know some of the Vanderpump Rules people, they get paid, they get their hotels paid for, their flights, of course, and then they get to bring one person with them, and then they get a flat rate of $600 for the night to appear on it.
Oh, they didn't give us anything. They did pay flight and they did pay hotel. They did not pay an extra person when I did it. And I actually brought my publicist with me because I was like, while I'm here, I'm going to do a whole bunch of stuff. Right. I mean, makes sense. So they didn't pay for her. So they only paid my room, my hotel, but I didn't get an extra bump, I don't think, for it.
Okay.
I did get paid. Actually, I did make a small amount for Wendy Williams. No, I did get paid for Wendy Williams, actually, like a small amount. I remember.
I didn't get paid for Wendy Williams.
No, well, you weren't on the show.
I mean, she featured my interview, so it's the same thing. Nobody even asked me to feature the interview. So just saying.
I think that's so fabulous. Did you get a big bump in your numbers from that? Just because I know you have a lot of people who do YouTubes that watch you.
Yeah, from that interview, I think in the span of that month, I think I gained like 20,000 subscribers.
That's great. I'm so glad. Okay, good.
Hey, thank you. I do want to bring up the super chat. Hot Shot Honey said, I love seeing how much Dana has grown as a human and annoyed they didn't feature how smart and truly cool she is on Beverly Hills. Okay, Hot Shot Honey, we'll keep you around.
I mean, me too. Okay, who you telling? You see how they even cut me out of the goddamn book. Like, it's unreal. I mean, I just
my goddamn excerpt of this book.
It's like crazy. Like, throw a paragraph in. I mean, Jesus, would kill you. I mean,
no. You wasted 2 hours of your life. Okay. Miss It Opinionated said the women last night never let Erika Girardi finish her answers. Erika Girardi snapping at them was bad. Positive note. I love Erika Girardi keeps her son private. Tommy is in the report. What? There's no report.
What report is she? Well, she didn't clarify the report she's discussing because there's a word limit on your chat thing. So.
Oh, okay.
So she probably wanted to tell you, but she couldn't finish that chat.
Miss Opinionated, please clarify. Thank you, Dana, for doing that.
Yes. All right. Let me moderate you.
Before we wrap it up, guys, 1,600 in the room. Go ahead, smash that like button. I do want to ask Dana one last question because it's causing a lot of controversy. Andy Cohen made an announcement about a new Housewives franchise. I was so bummed thinking it was going to Peacock, but it's not. It's coming to Bravo. And I did want to pick your brain because I was curious. What are your thoughts on The Real Housewives of Dubai coming to Bravo? I love Dana spitting on her glasses.
Yes, I can see. And I look like 100 with my glasses on. It really bothers me deep down inside. Okay. All right. So there's a lady of London in this group, right?
Yeah, Caroline Stanbury.
Right. Okay. I remember like a lot of people were really had like issues with that girl, Caroline. I remember that. I think so I feel a few things. I know the fans were kind of pissed that they didn't use everyone from Dubai, even though Caroline is from Dubai, is living in Dubai. Like They were upset that they took someone from London to anchor the Dubai show. Right. Okay. Because there's like plenty of women to put on that show. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of wealthy, crazy women in Dubai. Right. I think the show is going to be really fun because there's going to be a lot of cultural differences. I wonder how the production team is going to navigate some of the nuances of Dubai on the TV show. And that is actually me being really boring what I'm going to be watching for, because I've been to Dubai and I know that it's made a lot of, positive changes, over the years, but there's still some pretty interesting regulations, and the government they're very conscious about tourism in Dubai. They get heavily involved in that. They don't like negative depictions of things. They don't like alcohol abuse. They don't like, so I'm really curious to see how this is going to, that's a lot to navigate.
So, and I was asking Jason this too, because Jason was telling me, because I love Caroline. I've interviewed her. I've had her on twice, and then also did her podcast.
What's she like?
Oh, she's amazing. And I see why they brought her on. I know a lot of people were like, why this blonde woman who just moved to Dubai? She still has the opulent lifestyle, but also on Ladies of London, she was like the anchor who kept the storylines moving. She didn't give a shit to tell you how she feels. She knew how to pit people against each other. She knew how to have conflict and resolution, and she was a fan favorite.
Did she open? Okay, so here's my question. She was on the London, London show for all the time, the whole time.
Yes.
Okay.
3 seasons.
And then when she are they still doing the show, or they stopped?
No, they stopped the show because Caroline was moving to Dubai per her husband's business.
And Caroline's husband does what? Just so I know.
I don't know what he did, to be honest.
It's her ex-husband now. Now she's with this, like, young buck who is ripped, and he's
he's an ex-professional soccer player.
Yeah,
from Spain.
Yep. And now she's getting
her like cheating or something around this, I feel like.
No, I don't think so. I think that she just got bored with her husband.
What's her? Let me write down this Caroline girl's name so I can.
Oh gosh, here Dana goes, guys. Go to the Patreon in just 1 week.
We're gonna get a new episode.
We're gonna get the bank record.
I've heard gossip about this girl, and I got to remember what it is. But yeah, it's because I wasn't that into Ladies of London. I have my reasons. And so I on purpose ignored it. But now I will look at this woman and her stuff. But so basically Caroline goes to Dubai now, and you think she's there, that Bravo's anchoring the Dubai show on her too. You feel that way.
Yeah, because I think that they know, and Jason said, oh, go ahead, Jason.
Well, no, I was just going to say the whole reason they stopped Ladies of London was because you had 2 of them moving away. You had Marissa and also Caroline, but Caroline was really important to the show. But she moved, I want to say like 6 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 6-7 years ago. And when she moved, I think that Bravo, because they're not stupid, right? They know this woman knows reality TV. She was so vital to Ladies of London. She knows how to keep things going. And she has a huge social circle of wealthy women. So just like they brought on Kyle Richards for Beverly Hills, who kind of recruited people a little bit, Lisa Barlow for Salt Lake City recruited people a little bit. I think that they had Caroline start recruiting a little bit and introduced to casting some of these really wealthy women. But I think
it's going to be we're 100% sure it's going to be called Real Housewives of Dubai, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's an actual. She's not executive producer of a spinoff or anything like that.
No.
Okay, just curious. I'm just trying to get the landscape so I really understand.
Oh, we know you're going to go in on
that. Coming into this, with the controversy surrounding Dubai, because there's a lot of cultural differences, and I really want to see how they showcase that, because there's a lot. Even I'm learning a lot too. I've been there. I've been to a lot of places over there, but I'm still learning a lot.
You're a man. It's different as a woman. Just saying.
Yeah, no, and I'm an American, and it's different, but. I think what they wanted to do, especially with the controversy, is to have a familiar face, someone who was popular on a show, who lives there, who's been around Bravo production, knows how the system works. I think that's really, she also is very kind of intertwined within the Dubai social scene. So
right. Well, she might have helped production get the ability to shoot,
agreed.
Yeah. Because you need connections to get things done in Dubai,
Well, and when I was interviewing her, I asked her, would you ever join a reality show? And that was only a year ago. And she was in talks to join Beverly Hills or New York. They were asking her, would you come and live, Beverly Hills, New York, rent a place and see, let's test you out. And she said she was in talks for that. And then eventually it evolved into, okay, let's just give her, they really like her. So obviously if they're letting her head this, new franchise, Dubai, then I think it's very telling. But Miss Opinionated said, Chim Habib is in finance, and and was already living in Dubai before Caroline and kids moved there. All right.
Okay. Good to know.
We're going to have to go ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
No. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I'm shocked that Bravo is really behaving as like in that way, because they never were that way. This is such a new thing in the last few years, like actually saying to someone, oh, let me pay your rehab, Kim Richards. Let me get you, why don't you rent a house over here and we'll like that never happened. I'm shocked. I keep getting shocked by what I'm finding out. Like it was so organic before, like that was unheard of. Right. I don't know. I'm just like, what? So, I mean, it really is being run like a show now, like fully, I don't know. But, so I guess we'll have to see how it goes. I do think Dubai will be controversial. I'm going to get you guys excited about there will be controversy. I remember when I went to Dubai, although I interviewed Red One, who's Lady Gaga's music producer, and he told me a lot of this is no longer the case, but I went to the mall and they drove me around in a little Mercedes Jeep. Okay.
Yeah.
A little like golf cart Mercedes to go shopping. That was so awesome. I stayed at the Burj Al Arab. It was like the best. But anyway, what happened was as I was walking in, I was wearing shorts. And they said to me, you cannot wear shorts. You have to go home and you have to change into pants. And so even though that is, you have to respect the culture of the place that you're in, right? The, Bravo fans are very opinionated. Right. Okay. So it's going to be really interesting to see, the people that are like, look, respect the country. You're in the place. Like when things like that come up, like do what the country says, or people that are like, that's horrific on women. Like you should have a right to wear shorts. I'm using this as an example, right?
Right.
Like, you should have a right to be, that, or like, or just like Americans that are like freedom, that's ridiculous, like just all the different, elements. And that's when I'm really excited, that conversation.
Oh my gosh. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. But I did promise Dana that we would keep this to an hour and Jason is on in 10 minutes. Dana, thank you. I hope you drink lots of water and your energy wears off. And we appreciate the hell out of you. Thank you for doing part 4 of the reunion recap with Jason and I.
Thank you. Can I quickly?
Yeah, thanks for waking me up because I'm not awake.
I'm so glad. Can I quickly plug my Wednesday? Is that okay?
Yes. No, plug everything. Plug it all.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for being so generous. Okay. Next Wednesday, I'm doing a happy hour live on my channel, which is called Deca Dish. Dana, I also do gossip videos, like short 10-minute gossip videos. But I'm doing this live with David from Behind the Velvet Rope. I know, Adam, you have him, you know him too, and
yes.
He comes on and stuff. And so we're going to be doing a happy hour together, and it's going to be at, we're doing it earlier than I usually do. We're doing, I think it was 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. East Coast Time. And that'll be next Wednesday. It should be lots of fun. Everybody drinks, except people who are sober and can deal with me, even though I'm drinking. And then we, I'm also got the Patreon Dishing Drama Dana, and it's my Reddit. It has all of my gossip and my validation posted, my evidence, and then I do bonus audios and videos surrounding it. So you know what I'm talking about. And it's really fun in there. We have a big community and everybody shares and super fun. And follow me on Twitter at Dana Wilkey and Instagram Wilkey_Dana and send me gossip.
Yes. All right. And guys, you will be able to find Dana's YouTube channel in the description of this video below. We appreciate you, Dana. Thank you so much, guys. If you're not subscribed to Dana's channel, go get subscribed. You don't know what you're missing. And don't forget, it's the algorithm. Smash that like button. Dana, thank you.
And down with Jason. Congratulations on your new channel and all your success. I'm watching. I watch all of you guys. I keep an eye.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Dana.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Well, Jason's about to go live in literally 10 minutes. I pinned the link to his channel and the video up inside of the live chat. It's a subscribers only live chat. So if you're not subscribed, get subscribed.
Yes, Come and call in too. I want to hear from people because
that's the whole point.
There's so much stuff that happened last night too that was just not about Erika. Well, I mean, everything was about Erika. I'm so sick of Erika, but
we need opinions.
I want to hear from people. I want to call in because I'm going to bring up my notes. I'm going to bring up some tweets that I found and just let's talk about it. I'd love to get your opinion.
Yeah. So guys, go over there right now and go call in. I'm going to let Jason go. That way he can get ready because he is on in 9 minutes. Jason, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Guys, make sure you subscribe to Down with Jason. Go subscribe to Dana Wilkey's YouTube channel as well. Again, you can find both in the description of this video. Thank you so much to all of our amazing mods, all of you guys in the live chat, 1,500 plus in the room today. That was incredible. And thank you so much for our super chats and super stickers. We will be live again tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern for another round of hot, messy topics, subscribers only, but that's for you guys to call in, chime in on all of our hot topics. I can't wait. We didn't go on last night because it was a little bit slower, and I don't want to just bring you guys on for no news. Tonight we have news, so I hope you guys join us then. I will be dropping the link to that in my community tab today around 3 p.m. Love you guys. Bye. Don't forget to smash that like button. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye.